In order to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit, but it's also possible to be in a calorie deficit and not lose weight. If you have other health conditions going on, things that are not managed properly or haven't even been identified yet, it's possible you'll be in a calorie deficit but not lose weight. There's lots of discussion at the moment about women in perimenopause and menopause, which is one example. Personally, also, I have a lot of inflammation that comes from lipedema. I also have an underactive thyroid. So in the programme, when my food environment was entirely controlled, I did not see a big loss. When I came out of the programme and started reintroducing food and eating more calories, I actually saw a much bigger loss. So it showed me actually there was much more going on than how many calories I ate in that specific week. Fat clubs are really good at this, at suggesting that whatever you do in that week is going to equal the result you get on the scale. So if you don't lose weight, you'll see loads of people making excuses about, oh, I had a piece of cake or I didn't drink enough water. And while it's possible, like maybe if you've been on holiday and eaten more calories than you usually would, that could result in an increase in the scales, there's not always a correlation between your behaviours in that week and what shows on the scales. So as well as understanding what metabolic health looks like and what my body looks like in terms of responding to calories, I was also made aware that behaviours are not just about 1 week, they're about a number of weeks or about consistent behaviours across months and years. So in the rehab place, I lost 4 kilos, which is not very much, and particularly not very much at the weight that I was. But in the following 6 weeks, I lost 21 kilos, which is amazing, even though I was eating more calories. And that's because I was getting better treatment. So I was on a GLP-1, which managed my inflammation. I was also, as well, my underactive thyroid had not been managed well, and it was resolved in the second lot of 6 weeks, which meant that my thyroid was also functioning in a better position. It showed me on a week-by-week basis I was not necessarily seeing the big picture. Instead, if I looked at what happened over the 3 months, I was able to see that I lost 25 kilos, which is an amazing loss. So rather than concentrating on the 6 weeks that I only lost, quote-unquote, only lost 4 kilos, I was able to say, actually, when my behaviours in a calorie deficit were consistent and my health conditions were being managed, I was able to lose a lot more weight. It takes away some of the moral stuff around food as well. So this idea if your scales are not moving, that's entirely about your behaviour. That's not to say that behaviours don't matter. I said at the very beginning, you need to be in a calorie deficit, but then things happen that are beyond your control. Some of the things that are, I think, fairly well understood with women are things around being on their period. But then there's also situations where people will be moralising and saying that they had a piece of cake that week, when actually that's not going to really have such a big impact on the scales. So not only did it show me that I needed my health to be managed in order for my body to respond to a calorie deficit, but I also was not focusing too much on what was happening on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. Instead, I was thinking about the entire period that showed, I guess, the success I was having in terms of weight loss, because my behaviours were really consistent rather than focusing what happened on that 1 week or those few weeks in order to explain and understand what was going on in the scales.